Taman sat in his pilot chair and stared at the scanner screen. Nothing but rocks. Hundreds of rocks floating in the darkness of space. He had been searching Zone 47 for 3 days now and found nothing valuable. Just broken satellites and old mining equipment that nobody wanted anymore. He was about to turn his small ship around when something appeared on his scanner. The signal was faint, very faint, but it was there. "What is that?" Taman whispered to himself. He leaned forward and adjusted the scanner settings. The signal became clearer. It was big, much bigger than his ship, much bigger than any ship he had ever seen before. Taman felt his heart beat faster. He had been a salvage engineer for 12 years. He knew every type of ship in the database. Human ships, Kelter ships, Mulvian ships, even the rare Kix vessels that most people never saw. But this was different. This was something new. He pushed the throttle forward and guided his ship toward the signal. As he moved closer to a large asteroid, he saw it. The vessel was half buried in the rock. It looked like it had crashed there a very long time ago. The ship was enormous. Taman estimated it was at least 2 kilometers long. The hull was black, not the normal black of metal or paint. This was deeper. It looked like solid darkness shaped into a ship. Along the surface, he could see structures that looked like crystals. They caught the distant starlight and made tiny sparkles in the void. Beautiful. Taman breathed. He circled the wreckage slowly. His scanners worked hard to gather information. No power signature. No heat, no radiation. No life signs. The ship was completely dead. According to his computer, it had been dead for a very long time. Maybe centuries. Taman ran the ship design through his database. Nothing matched. Not even close. This vessel did not belong to any known civilization. That was impossible. Humanity had been traveling space for 200 years. They had met 17 different alien species. Every ship design was recorded and cataloged, but not this one. Taman knew what he should do. There were rules about unknown vessels. He should report it to the salvage authority. Let them send a proper team. Get paid a small finder's fee and move on. But Taman was not good at following rules. That was why he worked alone out here in the Forgotten Zones. Nobody to answer to. Nobody to tell him what to do. And more importantly, he was curious. Taman had always been curious. It was what made him a good engineer. He needed to understand how things worked. He needed to see inside this mysterious ship. He made his decision quickly. He would board it. Just a quick look. If it was dangerous, he would leave. If it was valuable, he would report it. Simple. Taman maneuvered his ship close to the alien vessel. He searched for an airlock or entrance. The smooth hull made it difficult. There were no obvious doors or hatches, just that strange black surface and the crystal structures. After 20 minutes of careful searching, he found something. A circular pattern on the hull. It was barely visible. The pattern had symbols around the edge, symbols he did not recognize. He positioned his ship next to it and extended his docking tube. The tube attached to the alien hull with a magnetic seal. Taman checked his suit. Air supply full. Tools ready. Emergency beacon active. All right, he said to himself. Let us see what you are. He entered the docking tube and approached the circular pattern. Up close, he could see the symbols more clearly. They were elegant, flowing, almost beautiful. He reached out and touched the surface. The moment his gloved hand made contact, the symbols began to glow. Soft blue light spread around the circle. Taman jumped back in surprise. His heart hammered in his chest. The circular section of hull suddenly moved. It did not slide open like human doors. It did not rotate like Kelter hatches. Instead, it seemed to dissolve. The solid material became liquid for a moment, then pulled back like a curtain made of water. Taman stared into the opening. Beyond was darkness. Complete darkness. His suit lights automatically switched on and cut through the black. He could see a corridor. The walls had the same smooth black surface as the exterior. More of those crystal structures lined the ceiling. He waited for several minutes. Nothing happened. No sounds, no movement. No atmosphere rushing out or in. The ship remained silent and dead. Taman took a deep breath and stepped through the opening. His boots touched the floor and made a soft sound. The surface was solid, not metal, not stone. Something else. Something that felt almost warm through his boots. As soon as he was fully inside, the opening behind him moved again. The liquid material flowed back into place and became solid. Taman spun around in alarm. He was sealed inside. Okay, he said, trying to keep his voice calm. That is interesting. He checked his suit computer. Still no atmosphere, no power readings. The ship was dead. The door mechanism must have been automatic, triggered by his touch. Nothing to worry about. He turned and faced the corridor ahead. His light showed it stretched deep into the ship. The walls were covered with patterns, lines and curves that seemed to flow into each other. They reminded him of artwork he had seen once. Ancient human artwork from a place called Korea. His grandmother had shown him pictures when he was young. The memory made him smile slightly. His grandmother would have loved this. She always told him to be curious about the universe, to never stop learning. I wish you could see this, grandmother, Taemin whispered. He started walking down the corridor. His lights revealed more crystal structures. Some were small like jewels. Others were large like pillars. All of them were dark and lifeless. But even without power, they had a strange beauty. The corridor opened into a larger space. Taemin stopped and looked around in wonder. The chamber was massive. The ceiling stretched high above him, maybe 50 meters high. The walls curved in ways that seemed impossible, smooth and perfect. In the center of the chamber stood something that made Taemin forget to breathe for a moment. It was a structure made entirely of crystal, huge, maybe 10 meters tall. It had branches that spread out like a tree, but it was cracked, damaged. Dark, Taemin walked closer. His engineer mind was already working. This was a power source. It had to be. The design, the position, the way the crystal branches connected to channels in the floor and walls. This was the heart of the ship, and it was broken. Taemin smiled. Broken things were his specialty. He might not understand this alien technology yet, but he would figure it out. He always did. He set down his equipment bag and pulled out his scanner tools. Time to get to work. What Taemin did not know was that deep inside the crystal structure something stirred. Something ancient, something that had been sleeping for a very long time, and his presence. His touch, his curiosity, all of it was being noticed. The dragon was beginning to wake. Taemin spent the first hour just scanning the crystal structure. His equipment collected data slowly. Temperature readings, composition analysis, energy patterns. Everything went into his portable computer. The crystal was unlike anything in his database. It was not diamond, not quartz, not any known mineral. The scanner called it an unknown organic metallic hybrid. That made no sense. Crystals were not organic. Metals were not crystalline. But somehow this material was both. Taemin walked around the structure and studied it from every angle. The cracks ran deep through the crystal branches. Some pieces had fallen to the floor. He picked one up carefully. It was lighter than he expected. The surface was smooth and cold. When he shined his light through it, colors appeared inside. Blue, green, purple. They swirled like oil on water. Incredible, he muttered. He noticed something else. The channels in the floor that connected to the crystal structure went everywhere. They ran along the walls, across the ceiling, through doorways into other chambers. This power source fed the entire ship. Taemin made a decision. He would camp here. Study this ship properly. It would take days, maybe weeks, but he had supplies. He had time. And most importantly, he had curiosity. He returned to his ship through the strange liquid door. It opened for him just as easily as before. He gathered his equipment, food packs, water recycler, portable power cells, his repair drones, everything he would need for an extended stay. By the time he finished setting up his camp in the massive chamber, 6 hours had passed. Taemin was exhausted but excited. He ate a quick meal and then opened his computer logs. He always kept detailed notes. It helped him think. Day 1, he recorded. Found unknown vessel in Zone 47. Design does not match any known civilization. Ship appears centuries old. Main power source is damaged crystal structure. Composition unknown. We'll begin detailed analysis tomorrow. He paused and looked up at the dark crystal tree. The ship is beautiful, he added. Whoever built this understood more than just engineering. They understood art. Taemin slept in his pressure suit that night, just in case, but nothing happened. The ship remained silent and dead around him. The next morning he started working in earnest. He sent his 3 repair drones out to explore other sections of the ship. They floated through corridors and chambers, recording everything. The footage they sent back amazed him. The ship had hundreds of rooms. Some were small, like sleeping quarters. Others were enormous, like the chamber he was in. Every surface had those flowing patterns. In some rooms, the patterns were simple. In others, they were incredibly complex. Layers upon layers of designs that made his eyes hurt if he looked too long. One drone found what looked like a control room. Panels covered the walls, but they were not like human control panels with buttons and switches. These were smooth surfaces with those symbols embedded in them, dark and inactive. Another drone discovered a chamber full of smaller crystal structures. They hung from the ceiling like frozen rain. All of them were cracked and dark like the main power source. The third drone found something that made Taman stop his work. A chamber with objects inside. Personal objects. Containers of various sizes. Tools that he did not recognize, and something that looked like a seat. But it was huge, big enough for a creature 3 times the size of a human. Who were you? Taman asked the empty ship. He spent the next 3 days mapping the vessel and taking measurements. He discovered the ship had 7 major sections. The central chamber with the power source, 2 sections that looked like living quarters, 1 section full of equipment he could not identify, 1 section that might be cargo storage, and 2 sections that were too damaged to enter safely. On the 4th day, Timon started examining the power source more carefully. He needed to understand how it worked before he could even think about repairing it. He noticed the crystal had nodes, points where the branches connected to each other. In a human power system, these would be junction points, places where energy transferred and distributed. He counted 47 nodes in total. Timon set up sensors on several nodes and ran tests. He sent small electrical charges through the crystal. Nothing happened at first. The crystal just absorbed the energy and went dark again. But on his 5th attempt, something changed. For just a moment, one of the nodes glowed. Faint blue light. It lasted less than a second, but it was there. Yes, Taman said excitedly. You can still work. You just need help. He began talking to himself more as the days passed. It was an old habit from years of working alone. Sometimes he talked about his findings, sometimes about his past, sometimes about nothing important. My grandmother would say I am crazy, he said while eating dinner on the 7th day, talking to a dead ship. But she also said curious people do crazy things, and I am definitely curious. He paused and looked at the crystal structure. I wonder what you looked like when you were alive. When power flowed through you, I bet you were beautiful, even more beautiful than now. Taman did not notice that the symbols on the nearest wall had changed slightly. Just a tiny shift in their patterns, too small for human eyes to catch. On the 9th day, he made a breakthrough. He discovered that the crystal did not use electricity like human technology. It used something else, a form of energy his sensors could barely detect. It was like electricity but different, more complex, more alive. He spent 2 more days building a converter, a device that could change his equipment's electrical power into this strange energy. It was crude work. He had to use parts from his repair drones, but finally it was ready. Taman connected the converter to one of the smaller crystal branches, the broken piece he had picked up on the 1st day. He held his breath and activated the device. The crystal fragment began to glow. Soft blue light filled it. The colors inside started to move and swirl. Taman laughed in triumph. It works. It actually works. He spent the next 3 days carefully building more converters, connecting them to different parts of the crystal structure. Each time he activated one, a little more light appeared. The crystal tree was slowly coming back to life. Taman worked 16 hours a day. He barely slept, barely ate. He was consumed by the work, by the puzzle. He needed to see the ship alive again. He needed to understand it. On the 15th day, he made his mistake. Or perhaps it was destiny. He connected a converter to one of the main nodes, the big junction points where multiple branches met. He thought it would be safe. He had tested everything carefully, but when he activated it, something unexpected happened. The entire crystal structure lit up. Not just a soft glow, bright light, brilliant blue light that filled the chamber and hurt his eyes. Taman stumbled backward in shock. The light pulsed like a heartbeat. Once, twice, 3 times. The whole ship seemed to vibrate with each pulse. Dust fell from the ceiling. The floor hummed under his feet. Then the light faded back to a soft glow. Dim but steady. Power was flowing through the crystal now. Not much, but enough. Taman stood frozen. His heart pounded. He had done it. He had brought power back to an alien ship that had been dead for centuries. He started to smile. Started to feel proud of his achievement, then he heard it. A sound, deep and low. It vibrated through the floor and into his bones. It was not a machine sound. Not the hum of engines or the buzz of electronics. It was a breath. Long and slow. Something impossibly large taking its first breath after a very long sleep. Taman's smile disappeared. His blood turned cold. The ship was not empty after all. Taman did not move. He could not move. Fear locked his muscles in place. The breath sound came again. Deeper this time. It seemed to come from everywhere at once. From the walls. From the floor. From the crystal structure itself. Then silence. Long and heavy silence. Taman's hand slowly moved to his belt. He touched his emergency beacon. One press and it would send a distress signal. Help would come. Eventually, maybe in a few days. Maybe in a week. His finger hovered over the button, but he did not press it. Something stopped him. Curiosity. That same curiosity that got him into this situation. He needed to know what was happening. "Hello?" he said. His voice sounded small in the vast chamber. No response. Just silence. "Is someone there?" He tried again. More silence. Maybe he had imagined it. Maybe the sound was just the ship settling. Old vessels made strange noises when power returned to them. That had to be it. Taman took a step toward his equipment. Then he heard something else. Not a breath this time, a voice. But it did not come through his helmet speakers. It did not come from any direction at all. It came from inside his head. "Who dares disturb my slumber?" The voice was deep, ancient. Each word felt heavy like stones dropping into still water. Taman gasped and grabbed his helmet. But the voice was not in his ears. It was in his mind. I asked a question, small one. "Who are you?" Taman's mouth went dry. He tried to speak, but nothing came out at first. He swallowed hard and forced words out. "My name is Taman. I am a salvage engineer. I found your ship and I thought it was empty. I was just trying to repair it." Another long pause. Taman could feel something. A presence. Massive and old. It was examining him. Studying him. He felt like an insect under a magnifying glass. "You repair? You are the one who brought power back to my vessel?" "Yes," Taman answered. "I connected converters to your crystal power source. I'm sorry if I damaged anything. I did not know anyone was here." "Damaged?" The voice almost seemed amused. "No, small one. You did not damage. You helped. You woke me." Taman felt his fear ease slightly, but only slightly. He still did not understand what he was dealing with. "What are you?" he asked. "I am Hanul. I am the last of my kind in this region of space. I am what your species would call a dragon, though that word is too simple for what I truly am. A dragon." Taman's mind struggled with that concept. Dragons were myths, stories. They did not exist in real life. But then again, he was talking to a voice in his head while standing inside an alien ship. Maybe myths were not so impossible after all. "You are the ship?" Taman asked. "You and the vessel are the same thing?" "In a way, yes. Long ago, my physical form merged with this vessel. We became one. Ship and dragon. Dragon and ship. It allowed me to travel the stars, to survive the centuries. But when the ship was damaged, I fell into deep sleep. Until you came." Taman looked at the crystal structure with new understanding. This was not just a power source. It was a living thing, or part of one. The crystal was Hanul's heart. "How long have you been asleep?" he asked. "I do not know. Time has no meaning in the deep sleep. Centuries, maybe longer. I waited for my kind to find me, to rescue me. But no one came. Only silence. Endless silence. And then you arrived with your crude tools and your curious mind." Taman heard something in the voice. Loneliness. Sadness. This dragon had been alone for a very long time. "Just like him, I am sorry," Taman said. "I did not mean to wake you without permission. Do not apologize. You gave me the first gift I have received in ages. You gave me consciousness again. Even if only partial, my power is still very weak." The crystal structure pulsed with soft light as Hanul spoke. Taman noticed the patterns on the walls were glowing now too. Faint but visible. "What happened to you?" Taman asked. "How did your ship get damaged?" "War," Hanul said simply. "An ancient war. I was protecting a young civilization from aggressors. The battle was fierce. My ship was struck by weapons designed to kill dragons. I managed to escape, but the damage was too great. I crashed here and entered emergency stasis. That is all I remember. Taman felt a chill. This being had fought in a war, had enough power to be worth killing. What would stop Hanul from simply taking what was needed and leaving him here? Or worse, as if reading his thoughts, Hanul spoke again. You fear me now. I can sense it. That is wise. I am weak, but still far more powerful than you. I could take the energy from your body. Use your life force to restore more of my power. It would be simple. Taman's hand moved to his emergency beacon again. His heart raced. But I will not, Hanul continued. You helped me when you could have just taken valuable materials and left. You treated my ship with care. With respect. You spoke to the empty chambers as if someone was listening. I heard every word during my half-sleep. Your loneliness, your grief, your love for understanding how things work. Taman felt exposed, vulnerable. All his private thoughts and words had been heard. You remind me of my own kind, Hanul said. Dragons were always curious, always seeking to understand the universe. You have that same spirit, so I offer you a choice, Taman. What choice? Taman asked carefully. Help me restore this ship fully. Work with me to repair what is broken. In return, I will share knowledge with you, technology beyond what your species has discovered, understanding of the universe that few creatures ever achieve. I will reward your kindness with wisdom, and if I refuse, then I will take enough energy to repair myself. You will survive, but you will be stranded here. Eventually, someone will find you. Or perhaps not. The choice is yours. It was not really a choice. Taman knew that, but something told him Hanul was being honest. The dragon could have simply taken everything already, could have consumed him the moment consciousness returned. But instead, Hanul was offering a deal. I have one condition, Taman said. He was surprised by his own boldness. Oh, a human makes demands of a dragon? This should be interesting. Teach me as we work. Do not just tell me what to do. Explain why. Help me understand your technology. I do not want to be just a tool. I want to learn. Silence filled the chamber for a long moment. Then Taman felt something. It was not quite laughter. More like warm amusement. You are bold, small one. I like that very well. I accept your condition. We will work together as teacher and student. You will learn, and perhaps I will learn from you as well. Your species is young, but you have interesting ways of solving problems. Taman felt relief wash over him. He was not going to die today. Better than that, he was going to learn things no human had ever known. Where do we start? He asked. First, you must create more of your crude converters. My power is barely a spark right now. We need to restore the secondary systems, the environmental controls, the sensors, the repair mechanisms. This will take time. I have time, Taman said. I have nowhere else to be. Good. Then let us begin. You and I, human and dragon, will restore what was lost, and perhaps we will both find what we have been searching for. What is that? Taman asked. Purpose, Hanul said simply. And companionship. Taman smiled inside his helmet. He had come here looking for salvage, for valuable technology. Instead, he found something much more rare. He found a friend, even if that friend was an ancient alien dragon living inside a ship. All right, Hanul, he said. Let us get to work. The crystal structure pulsed with light. The patterns on the walls glowed brighter. And in the cold darkness of space, inside a forgotten asteroid field, a human and a dragon began their partnership. Neither of them knew that this decision would change everything. For them, for humanity, and for the galaxy itself. The first week of working with Hanul was strange for Taman. He had to learn a completely new way of thinking about technology. Everything he knew about engineering was based on human designs, circuits, wires, mechanical parts, things that could be touched and measured. Dragon technology was different. It was alive, or at least partly alive. The crystal systems grew and adapted. They responded to intention as much as to physical input. It was more like gardening than engineering. You are thinking too rigidly, Hanul said one day. The dragon's voice in his mind had become familiar now, less frightening, almost comfortable. Taman was trying to connect a converter to a secondary crystal node. He had measured everything perfectly, calculated the power flow, but the connection kept failing. What do you mean? He asked. You treat my ship like a machine, but it is not. It is an extension of my body. You must ask it to accept the connection, not force it. Ask it. How do I ask a crystal? Place your hand on the node. Think clearly about what you want. The crystal will respond. Taman felt foolish, but he tried. He placed his gloved hand on the dark crystal node. He thought about power flowing, about connection, about the system working together. The crystal began to glow under his palm. Soft blue light spread through it. The converter activated smoothly. The connection held. "I will be damned," Taman whispered. It worked. Of course it worked. My kind understood something your species has not yet learned. Technology should not be separate from life. It should be part of it. When you build with that understanding, your creations become stronger, more adaptable. Taman sat down and thought about this. It was a completely different philosophy. Humans built tools to control nature. Dragons built tools to work with it. Neither was wrong, just different. "Tell me about your kind," Taman said. "What were dragons like before they left?" Hanel was quiet for a moment. Then the dragon began to speak, and as the words formed in Taman's mind, images came with them. Visions of things long past. He saw worlds covered in cities made of crystal and light. He saw creatures that looked like storms given form. Dragons with wings made of energy, eyes that held the light of stars. They were beautiful and terrible all at once. "We were gardeners," Hanul explained. "That is what we called ourselves. We traveled the galaxy and found young civilizations, species that were just beginning to reach for the stars. We watched them, protected them, guided them when they asked for guidance." "Or why?" Taman asked. "Why help other species?" "Because we remembered being young once, struggling, making mistakes. Other ancient species had helped us long ago. We were paying that debt forward. It was our purpose, our joy." The images changed. Taman saw dragons landing on primitive worlds, sharing knowledge, teaching, then leaving before the young species became dependent. It was not conquest, it was cultivation. "But something went wrong," Taman said. "You mentioned a war." The images darkened. Hanel's voice became heavy with old pain. Not all ancient species believed in nurturing the young. Some believed in domination, in harvest. They saw developing civilizations as resources to be used. We disagreed. The disagreement became conflict. The conflict became war. Taman saw flashes of battles that stretched across star systems, weapons that tore holes in space itself, ships the size of moons, dragons fighting against things he had no names for. The war lasted for centuries. Both sides lost much. In the end, my kind made a choice. We decided to leave this plane of existence, to transcend, to become something beyond physical form. They believed it was the only way to end the cycle of violence. "But you stayed," Taman said softly. "Yes, I stayed. I could not abandon the young species we had promised to protect, even if my kind thought it was foolish, even if I would be alone. So I merged with my ship and continued the work. For thousands of years, I watched over developing worlds. I stopped threats. I left gifts of knowledge for those ready to receive them, until you were damaged. Until I made a mistake," Hanul corrected. "I engaged an enemy I should have avoided. My pride made me think I could win alone. I was wrong. The damage was too severe. I crashed here and slept, and the species I was protecting probably died while I dreamed." Taman heard the grief in those words, the guilt. It was familiar. He knew that feeling well. "I lost my family," Taman said quietly, 7 years ago. There was an accident at the colony where they lived. Life support failed. I was working on another station. By the time I got the message, it was too late. Everyone was gone. "You blame yourself," Hanul said. "It was not a question. I should have been there. I am an engineer. Maybe I could have fixed the problem. Maybe I could have saved them. My wife, my daughter. But I was not there because I chose work over family. I chose to be somewhere else. And so you punish yourself by being alone, by working in empty zones where no one else goes." Taman felt tears on his cheeks. He had not talked about this with anyone. Not in 7 years. But somehow it was easier to talk to a voice in his head. To a dragon who understood loss. "I do not deserve companionship," Taman said. "I failed the people who needed me most." "That is foolish," Hanul said firmly. "You could not have known. You could not have prevented it. Guilt is a heavy burden, but it is also a selfish one. You carry it as punishment, but it helps no one. Not the dead. Not the living. Not yourself. What else can I do? You can honor them by living. By continuing to be curious. By helping others. Your wife and daughter would not want you to waste your life in isolation. They would want you to find purpose again, to find joy. Taman wiped his eyes. The words hurt, but they also felt true. He had been hiding for 7 years. Hiding from pain, from connection, from life itself. Is that why you are helping me? Taman asked. Because you know what it is like to be alone? Perhaps. Or perhaps I simply see potential in you. Humans are young as species go. Barely 300,000 years old. Most species need millions of years to reach the stars. But you did it faster. You are adaptable. Creative. You solve problems in ways that seem illogical but somehow work. Like my converters, Taman said with a small smile. Exactly like your converters. A dragon engineer would never build something so crude, so inefficient. But it works because you were willing to try something unconventional. That is a valuable trait. They worked in silence for a while after that. Taman connected more converters. Power spread slowly through the ship's systems. Lights began to glow in corridors that had been dark for centuries. The environmental systems came online. Atmosphere started filling the chambers. After 2 hours, Taman removed his helmet for the first time. The air was thin but breathable. It smelled strange. Not bad, just different. Like ozone and something floral. The ship is breathing again, Hanul said. There was satisfaction in the dragon's voice. You are doing well, student. Thank you, teacher, Taman replied. As he worked, Taman felt something changing inside himself. The weight of guilt was still there. It would probably always be there. But it felt lighter somehow. Less crushing. Maybe Hanul was right. Maybe it was time to stop punishing himself. Time to live again, Hanul, he said. After we finish repairing your ship, what will you do? I do not know, the dragon admitted. My purpose was to protect young species. But I have been gone for so long. The galaxy has changed. Perhaps my purpose has changed as well. Maybe you could stay. Help humanity. We are definitely a young species. We make a lot of mistakes. Hanul made that warm, amused sound again. Are you offering me a new purpose, Taman? Maybe. Or maybe I'm just hoping you will not leave. It has been nice. Having someone to talk to. I had not considered staying in this region of space, but you make an interesting argument. Your species is chaotic and unpredictable, but also earnest and brave. Perhaps there is work to be done here after all. Taman smiled. It was the first real smile he had felt in years. Then let us make sure this ship is fully restored, he said. We have a lot of work ahead. Indeed we do, Hanul agreed. And I find myself looking forward to it. 3 months passed. The work was hard but satisfying. Every day Taman learned something new. Every day more of the ship came back to life. Hanul taught him how to grow crystal circuits. It required patience. The crystals needed time to form, needed the right conditions. But when they grew properly, they were far superior to human technology. They repaired themselves. They adapted to damage. They learned. Watch, Hanul instructed one morning. Place your hand here. Feed a small amount of power. Not too much. Just enough to start the process. Taman did as told. Under his palm, he felt warmth. The crystal surface began to shift. Tiny branches grew outward. They moved slowly like plants in time-lapse footage. Within an hour, a new connection had formed. Perfect and seamless, incredible. Taman breathed. This would take me days with human tools. Dragon technology is patient. It works with natural processes rather than against them. Slower sometimes, but the results last longer. Taman integrated his own knowledge into the repairs. He showed Hanul human engineering tricks, ways to boost efficiency, methods for quick fixes when patience was not available. The dragon was surprisingly interested. Your species builds for speed and adaptability, Hanul observed. My kind built for permanence and beauty. Perhaps both approaches have value. They began combining techniques. Dragon crystal systems with human power boosters. Organic growth patterns with mechanical support structures. The result was something neither species had created before. A hybrid that was stronger than either alone. The ship slowly transformed around them. Lights glowed in every corridor. The environmental system maintained perfect atmosphere. The sensors came online and began scanning space around them. Even some of the damaged sections became accessible again. Taman set up a proper living area in one of the smaller chambers. He brought better supplies from his ship. Real food instead of just nutrition packs. A comfortable sleeping pad. Books on his data reader. For the first time in years, he felt like he was home. You seem happier, Hanul commented one evening. Taemin was eating dinner while reading an engineering manual. I am, Taemin admitted. This work. This place, it feels right. Like this is what I was supposed to be doing all along. Purpose is a powerful thing. It gives meaning to existence. They talked for hours that night. Hanul shared stories of ancient civilizations, species that had risen and fallen long before humans existed. Taemin shared human history, stories of exploration and discovery, mistakes and triumphs. Your species reminds me of the Kelvin, Hanul said. They were young and energetic like humans, always rushing forward, always trying new things. They made many mistakes, but they learned quickly. What happened to them? They transcended. Like my kind, most ancient species eventually do. They evolve beyond the need for physical form, beyond the limitations of matter and energy. Does everyone transcend eventually? Most do, but not all. Some choose to remain. Some are not ready, and some, like me, have reasons to stay. Taemin thought about that. The idea of becoming pure consciousness was both fascinating and frightening. Would he still be himself? Would he still feel? Still dream? I think I prefer having a body, he said finally. I like eating food, feeling tired after good work, the ache in my muscles when I lift heavy things. It reminds me I am alive. That is very human of you, Hanul said with warm amusement. By the 4th month, the main power systems were nearly restored. The crystal structure glowed bright now. Energy flowed through every channel. The ship was waking up fully. Taemin noticed changes in Hanul, too. The dragon's voice was stronger, clearer, more present. Sometimes when they talked, Taemin could almost see shapes in the glowing crystals, hints of something vast and powerful. I can feel myself returning, Hanul said one day. My consciousness is spreading through the ship again. I can sense things I could not before. The stars beyond these asteroids, the void of space. It feels good to be aware again. How much longer until you are fully restored? Weeks, maybe a month. The final repairs are delicate. We must reconnect the primary neural pathways. That is the most dangerous part. Dangerous how? If we make a mistake, I could lose myself. My consciousness could fragment, scatter across the ship's systems. I would be alive but not aware, not whole. It is a risk every dragon faces when merging with a vessel. Taemin felt a chill. He had not realized the danger. All this time, Hanul had been vulnerable, trusting him with something precious. With the dragon's very existence, then we will be very careful, Taemin said firmly. I will not let you become lost. I promise. Thank you, my friend. They spent the next 2 weeks preparing for the final stage. Taemin checked every connection 3 times, ran simulations on his computer, consulted with Hanul about every detail. They could not afford mistakes. During this time, Taemin told Hanul about his family. Really told him. Not just the facts of their death, but the memories of their lives. His wife Eunha had loved to paint. She would spend hours creating artwork of nebulas and starfields. His daughter Jiwoo had been curious like him, always asking questions, always wanting to know how things worked. They sound wonderful, Hanul said softly. They were. I wish you could have met them. Eunha would have loved your ship. The beauty of it. Jiwoo would have pestered you with a million questions. I would have answered every one. Children's curiosity should always be encouraged. Taemin smiled through tears. Talking about them still hurt. But it was a good hurt. A healing hurt. Like exercising a muscle that had been weak for too long. I think I am ready, he said. Ready to stop running from their memory. To honor them by living again. Really living. That is good. That is growth. I am proud of you. Those simple words meant everything. Taemin had not realized how much he needed to hear them. Not from a dragon, not from anyone. Just the acknowledgement that he was doing better, that he was healing. On the day of the final repair, Taemin woke early. He ate a good breakfast, checked all his equipment, said a small prayer to ancestors he was not sure he believed in. Then he went to the main chamber where Hanul waited. Are you ready? The dragon asked. Yes, are you? As ready as I can be. This will take several hours. You must maintain steady power flow while I guide my consciousness through the pathways. If anything feels wrong, if you sense any instability, stop immediately. Understood. Taemin activated the converters one by one. Power surged into the crystal structure. It blazed with light, brighter than ever before. The entire chamber filled with blue radiance. He felt Hanul's presence intensify. The dragon was moving through the ship, spreading awareness into every system, every corridor, every crystal node. It was like watching a sleeping giant wake up. Hours passed. Taman monitored everything carefully, adjusted power levels, kept the flow stable. His hands were steady even though his heart raced. He could not fail. He would not fail. Then something went wrong. One of the neural pathways resisted. The crystal there was older, more damaged than they thought. It created a blockage. Power backed up into surrounding systems. Crystals began to overload. Taemin, Hanul's voice was strained. The eastern pathway. It is failing. I cannot push through. If it ruptures, the feedback will destroy weeks of work. Taemin's mind raced. He had seconds to decide. He could shut down power, save what they had done, but then they would need to start over. Months of work lost, or he could try something crazy, something risky, something very human. He grabbed a power cell from his equipment, ran to the failing pathway, placed the cell directly against the damaged crystal. Then he overrode the safety protocols and dumped all the cell's energy at once. The crystal exploded with light. Taemin was thrown backward. He hit the floor hard. For a moment everything was white, silent, empty. Then Hanul's voice filled his mind, louder than ever before, strong and clear and whole. I am here. I am awake. I am complete. Taemin sat up slowly. His body ached, but nothing was broken. He looked at the crystal structure. It blazed like a blue sun, beautiful and powerful and alive. Did it work? He asked. It worked. Your insane plan worked. You cleared the blockage by forcing so much energy through that the damaged crystal healed instantly. It should not have worked. But it did. Taemin started laughing. He could not help it. Relief and joy bubbled up inside him. That is very human of me, he said. Indeed it is. Hanul agreed. And for the first time Taemin heard the dragon laugh too. A sound like distant thunder, like wind through mountain peaks, beautiful and strange and wonderful. For 3 days after the restoration, everything was perfect. Hanul's ship was fully alive. Systems that had been dead for centuries now hummed with power. The dragon could move the vessel again, control every function. It was like watching someone who had been paralyzed suddenly able to walk. Taemin explored sections of the ship he had never seen before. Chambers full of stored knowledge. Libraries of crystal data containing information from thousands of worlds. Gardens where strange plants grew in careful patterns. These plants created oxygen and food. They were part of the ship's life support. This is amazing, Taemin said. He stood in a garden chamber watching plants that glowed softly in the darkness. Your people thought of everything. We had millions of years to perfect our designs, Hanul replied. The dragon's voice was everywhere now, not just in Taemin's mind, but through speakers in the walls. Would you like to see the observation deck? There is an observation deck? Of course. Follow the lights. Glowing patterns appeared on the floor. They led Taemin through corridors to a chamber at the front of the ship. When he entered, he gasped. The entire front wall was transparent. Not a window. The wall itself became clear, like looking through crystal. Beyond it stretched the asteroid field and the stars beyond. Millions of stars, beautiful and infinite. I could stare at this forever, Taemin whispered. Many did. This was where we would contemplate the universe. Where we would make our most important decisions. Taemin sat on the floor and just looked. After months inside the ship, seeing the stars felt like breathing fresh air. He felt small, but not in a bad way. Small in a way that reminded him he was part of something vast and wonderful. That was when the sensors detected them. Taemin, Hanul's voice became serious. We have a problem. Multiple ships are entering the asteroid field. 15 vessels. Military grade. They are not human. Taemin jumped to his feet. Who are they? Scanning now. Identification confirmed. They are Vrex, machine intelligence. Very old, very dangerous. They hunt dragon technology. The transparent wall changed. It now showed enhanced images of the approaching ships. They were angular, mechanical. They looked like geometric shapes rather than traditional vessels. Cold and efficient, what do they want? Taemin asked. His heart pounded. Me, my ship. Dragon technology is incredibly valuable. Vrex harvest it. Use it to increase their own power. They have been hunting remnants of my kind for millennia. How did they find us? When you restored my power, the energy signature would have been detectable across several star systems. To anyone looking, and Vrex are always looking, the approaching ships spread out. They surrounded the asteroid field in a wide formation, cutting off escape routes. Taemin recognized the pattern. It was a siege formation. Can we fight them? He asked. My weapons are functional but weak. Centuries of dormancy have degraded many systems. I can fight, but I cannot win. Not against 15 ships. A communication signal came through. Hunnell displayed it on the transparent wall. A voice spoke. Flat, emotionless, machine perfect, dragon vessel. You are surrounded. Surrender your core matrix and the organic will be spared. Resistance will result in total destruction. They want to take your consciousness, Taemin said. Harvest you like a resource? Yes, it is what they do. What they have always done. Taemin's hands clenched into fists. After everything they had been through. After months of work. After finally finding purpose again. He was not going to let machines take it away. What are our options? He asked. Hunnell was quiet for a moment. When the dragon spoke again, Taemin heard something he had never heard before. Resignation. I can trigger a self-destruct. Overload my core matrix. The explosion will destroy this entire section of the asteroid field. The Vrex fleet will be caught in the blast. You can escape in your ship. I will give you coordinates to hidden caches of dragon knowledge. Humanity will benefit greatly. No, Taemin said immediately. No, I'm not leaving you. I am not letting you sacrifice yourself. We will find another way. Taemin, there is no other way. I am too weak to fight 15 ships. If I do not destroy myself, they will take me. Use my technology for their own purposes. Hurt others with it. I cannot allow that. Then we make them think you are weaker than you are, Taemin said. His engineer mind was working, calculating, planning. We make them come close, confident. Then we hit them with everything. That might destroy 1 or 2 ships. The others will simply attack from range. Not if we make them hesitate. Not if we show them something they have never seen before. Taemin began pacing. Ideas formed in his mind. Crazy ideas. Human ideas. Hunnell, can you control your repair drones? All of them? Yes, I have thousands of repair drones throughout the ship. Good, and you can generate false power signatures? Yes, for a short time. But what are you thinking? Taemin smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of someone who had found a solution. A dangerous solution. I am thinking we teach these machines why humans are dangerous. Not because we are strong, but because we are crazy. He explained his plan. Hannah listened quietly. When Taemin finished, the dragon was silent for a long moment. That is the most illogical plan I have ever heard, Hunnell said finally. Will it work? Probably not. The odds of success are less than 20%. Better than 0. And better than you dying. Will you trust me? Another pause. Then Hunnell's voice filled with warmth. You came to my dead ship alone. You worked for months to wake me. You risked your life in the final repair. Yes, my friend. I trust you. Let us try your crazy human plan. Good. First thing we need to do is send a message back to those machines. Taemin activated the communication system himself. He spoke clearly and firmly, Vrex fleet. This is Taemin, human engineer. The dragon vessel is under my protection. Leave now or face consequences. The response came quickly. The same flat voice, negative. Organic has no authority. Organic has no power. Surrender or be destroyed. I warned you, Taemin said. Then he cut the connection. He looked at the sensor display. The Vrex ships were moving closer, tightening the formation. They would be in weapons range within 30 minutes. Let us get ready, he said. We have a lot to prepare and not much time. Taemin, Hunnell said softly. Thank you. For not leaving. For choosing to stay. No one has fought beside me in a very long time. We are friends, Taemin replied simply. Friends do not abandon each other. Not ever. He went to work. He had 30 minutes to prepare something impossible. 30 minutes to combine human ingenuity with dragon technology. 30 minutes to create chaos. It was going to be close. But Taemin was good at close calls. He had been an engineer for 12 years. He had fixed impossible problems before. This was just one more impossible problem. Except this time he was not alone. This time he had a dragon on his side. The Vrex ships moved closer. Their weapons charged. They expected an easy victory. Expected to harvest ancient technology from a weakened dragon. They had no idea what was coming, and that was exactly how Taemin wanted it. The first Vrex ship entered weapons range after 28 minutes. Taemin had used every second. Now came the moment of truth. Hunnell, are the drones ready? He asked. All 5,000 repair drones are armed and positioned. Your modifications are complete. though I still think weaponizing repair equipment is highly unconventional. Unconventional is what we need. Activate the false power signatures. Throughout the asteroid field, dozens of fake energy sources appeared. They looked exactly like weapon systems powering up. The Vrex formation hesitated. Their sensors detected threats everywhere. All ships spread formation, the Vrex commander transmitted. Identify real threats. The fleet split up. Exactly as Taemin hoped. Divided targets were easier to handle. Now hit them with signal jamming, Taemin ordered. Hanul released a pulse of electromagnetic interference. Not enough to damage the Virex ships, but enough to confuse their communication. The fleet could not coordinate properly anymore. 3 Vrex ships broke formation completely. They moved toward the fake power signatures. That was when Taemin sprang his first trap. Released Drone Swarm Alpha. 1,000 repair drones shot out from hidden positions in the asteroids. But these were not normal repair drones anymore. Taemin had modified them. Each drone now carried a small explosive. Human-made charges attached to Dragon technology guidance systems. The drones swarmed the 3 isolated ships. Too fast to track, too many to shoot down. They attached to hulls and detonated. The explosions were small individually, but together they created massive damage. Hull breaches, system failures. 1 ship went dark completely. 2 ships disabled, 1 destroyed, Hanul reported. 12 ships remaining. The Vrex fleet reacted. They pulled back and reformed, started firing at everything. Asteroids exploded around them, but they hit nothing important. They are learning, Taemin muttered. Time for Phase 2. Hanul, can you move the ship? Yes, but if I reveal our position, they will focus fire on us. That is the idea. I need you to trust me. Fly straight at their formation. Full speed. That is suicide. Only if we actually hit them. Ready? Hanul did not answer immediately. Then the ship lurched. The engines roared to life for the first time in centuries. The Dragon vessel tore free from the asteroid and accelerated. The transparent wall showed everything. The Vrex fleet ahead, getting closer. Their weapons charging. They are targeting us, Hanul warned. All ships. All weapons. Good, keep going faster. Energy beams lanced through space. They struck the Dragon ship's shields. Alarms blared. The shields held but barely. Shields at 40%, Hanul said. Taemin, we cannot survive a sustained assault. We do not need to. Just a few more seconds. Wait for it! They rushed toward the Vrex formation. Closer, closer. The machines were focused completely on the Dragon ship. All their weapons firing. All their attention locked on the incoming threat. Now, Taemin shouted. Drone Swarm Beta! All of them. 4,000 drones erupted from Hanul's ship. They had been hiding in the cargo bays, waiting. These drones were different. Taemin had loaded them with something special. Human mining charges. Taemin had salvaged them months ago. Each charge was designed to crack asteroids. Release them near ship engines at close range and the results would be devastating. The drones scattered toward the Vrex fleet. The machines tried to retarget, tried to defend, but they were surrounded, overwhelmed. The drones found their marks. Explosions lit up space. Engine cores ruptured. Power systems failed. Ship spun out of control. Hard turn, Taemin yelled. Hanul pulled the ship into a violent maneuver. They curved away from the fleet at the last moment. Barely avoided collision. Behind them, the Vrex formation was chaos. 7 ships disabled or destroyed, Hanul reported. 5 remaining. But they are regrouping. Can you target them with your real weapons now? Yes, they are in range. Then let them see what a dragon can really do. The crystal weapon systems came online. Energy gathered in the ship's core, then released in brilliant beams of concentrated power, not the weak systems of before. Hanul had been holding back, hiding the true restoration. The dragon's fury struck 2 Vrex ships simultaneously. The beams punched through their shields like paper, through their hulls, through their cores. The ship simply ceased to exist. 3 ships remained. Their formation was broken, their confidence shattered. This is impossible, the Vrex commander transmitted. Dragon vessel should be weak. Organic should be helpless. This does not match our calculations. That is your mistake, Taemin transmitted back. You calculated based on logic, on what should be possible, but humans do not care about should. We care about must, and we must protect our friends, he nodded to Hanul. The dragon understood. The ship accelerated again, but this time not toward the Vrex, away, leading them on a chase through the asteroid field. The 3 remaining ships followed. They had no choice. They could not return to their collective empty-handed. Hanul led them deeper into the field, through narrow passages, around massive rocks. The dragon ship moved like it was alive, dancing between obstacles. The wrecked ship struggled to keep up. Then Hanul stopped, turned, faced the pursuing ships. "What are you doing?" the wreck's commander transmitted. "You have trapped yourself." "No," Hanul replied calmly. "We have trapped you." The asteroids around them began to glow. Taman had spent his time well. He had planted charges throughout this section. Dozens of them, all connected, all ready. He pressed a button. The explosions were perfectly timed, perfectly placed. The asteroids did not just explode. They fragmented in specific directions. Thousands of rocks became thousands of projectiles, all aimed at the wrecked ships. The machines tried to dodge, tried to shield, but there was nowhere to go. The rock storm overwhelmed them. Hulls cracked, systems failed. Within seconds, all 3 ships were disabled. Silence fell across the battlefield. Taemin sat down heavily. His hands were shaking. His heart pounded. They had won, somehow, against all odds. They had actually won. "Is it over?" he asked. "Yes," Hanul said. "The wreck's fleet is destroyed or disabled." "We are safe," Taemin started laughing. Relief and joy mixed together. He had faced death and survived. More importantly, Hanul had survived. "Your plan worked," the dragon said. There was wonder in the voice. "Your crazy, illogical, impossible plan actually worked. That is humanity for you. We specialize in impossible." They returned to the original asteroid. The ship settled into a stable position. Taemin checked all systems. Some damage, but nothing critical. They could repair it easily. "What now?" Hanul asked. Taemin thought about that. They could stay hidden, but the wrecks would send more ships eventually. Or they could do something different. Something bold. "I think we should contact human authorities," Taemin said. "Share some of the dragon knowledge you have. Help humanity advance, make them stronger. And what about us? I think we should travel. See the galaxy. Find other species that need help. Do what dragons used to do. Be gardeners. Together?" Hanul asked. "Together. If you want a human partner. I know I am not a dragon. I am illogical and crazy, but I promise to always have your back." Hanul was quiet for a moment. Then the dragon's voice filled with warmth and affection. "Taemin, you came to my dead ship and gave me life. You became my friend when I had none. You risked everything to protect me. I would be honored to travel the stars with you. Perhaps your human perspective is exactly what I need." Over the next week, they prepared. Taemin sent detailed data packages to human space, coordinates to dragon caches, technology blueprints, medical knowledge, energy systems, gifts that would advance humanity by centuries. He included a message. He told them about Hanul, about dragon philosophy, about protecting young species. He told them humanity was part of something larger now, part of an ancient tradition of helping others grow. The responses came quickly. Shock, excitement, gratitude. Humanity wanted to learn, wanted to meet Hanul, wanted to understand. But Taemin explained they would not return yet. They had work to do, species to help, knowledge to share. Maybe someday they would return. But not now. 6 months after the battle, the dragon ship jumped to faster than light speeds, heading toward the galactic core, toward civilizations that needed guidance, toward adventure. Inside the ship, Taemin stood at the observation deck. He watched the stars stretch into lines as they accelerated. It was beautiful. "I think Yunha and Jiwoo would have loved this," he said softly. "I am certain they would," Hanul replied, "and I believe they would be proud of you. You have honored their memory by living, by finding purpose again. Thank you for everything." "No, Taemin. Thank you. You gave me hope when I had none. You showed me that different species working together can achieve impossible things. Human ingenuity combined with dragon wisdom. It is a powerful combination." Taemin smiled. He had come to a dead ship looking for salvage. Instead, he found a friend, a purpose, a future. Behind them, humanity received the greatest gifts they had ever known. Technology, knowledge, understanding, and the knowledge that they were not alone. That someone believed in them. Ahead of them stretched infinite possibilities. Worlds to explore, species to help, adventures to experience. The salvage engineer and the ancient dragon. The human and the starfaring consciousness. Together, They would show the galaxy what friendship could accomplish. And somewhere in the vast universe, other young species would soon discover something wonderful. They would find gifts, find help, find hope, because a dragon had chosen to stay, and a human had chosen to care.